there friends, it's Ashley here from the Loopy Lamb and theloopylamb.com, and thanks so much for stopping by the channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you 3 different methods that you can use to make a slip knot to start your crochet projects with. Now this is for absolute beginners, and to follow along with the tutorial, you're going to need any kind of yarn you've got handy that you want to put a slip knot in and a crochet hook. I'm just using a worsted weight yarn here called Bravo Worsted from We Crochet, and I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook here from our friends at Furls Crochet, and I'll link to those in the description box below. So the reason you're going to need to know how to do a slip knot when you're crocheting is because all crochet chains start with a slip knot, and that's not going to be mentioned in any of the patterns that you're looking at. It's going to be assumed that you know you need to have that slip knot on your hook to create your chain. So let's take this off of here, and we're going to show you how to do the first method. Now the first method is called the loop method. And before we actually get started, I want to explain that there's 2 different terminologies that you're going to need to know when we're doing this. So when I'm saying the yarn tail or the yarn end, I'm referencing the absolute end of the yarn here. And you can see it's been cut. It doesn't have end, it just stops. And then the other end is the extension, or the other end of the yarn here. It's still attached, but this is called the working end because it's the end that is pulling yarn from the yarn ball. All right, so to reiterate, yarn tail or yarn end, working end. All right, so when we're doing the loop method, we want to start with the yarn tail in our non-dominant hand. So for me, that's my left hand, and I want the working end of the yarn in my right hand, or the non-dominant hand. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring the working end of the yarn over top of the yarn tail to form a loop like this. All right, and you can see that we've got a cross happening here, and my working end of my yarn comes up and behind my hand. So I'm going to take my thumb and pinch down at that intersection point here, and you can use this either a crochet hook or your finger for this next part. But what you're going to do is you're going to insert your crochet hook in from front to back through that loop, and you're going to use your hook to grab the working end of the yarn, and then you're going to pull it through the loop, and then grab the working end of the yarn and the tail end of your yarn with your hand and then pull up on your hook and pull down on your yarn tails. And then you can adjust the size of your slip knot or slip knot loop, say that 5 times fast, and that will adjust the size of your loop. So pulling down on the working end will tighten it, pulling down on the yarn tail will loosen it. And you want to make sure that your slip knot can move easily back and forth on your crochet hook. So that's our first method, and we're going to go into the next method here, which is sometimes called the wrap method. It's my personal favorite way to show you how to do it because it's just quick, it's easy, and I do it, this is my own personal method that I use. So anyways, you're going to have your yarn tail across your palm like this. Pin down the yarn tail on your palm, and then holding on to the working end of the yarn, we're going to wrap it around behind your fingers, bringing it around to the front, and we're going to cross it over itself to create an X like this. Now, while you maintain tension on the working yarn here, we're going to flip our non-dominant hand over, and then we're going to pin the working end of the yarn down between, you can do it either between your middle finger and your ring finger, or your ring finger and your pinky finger. This is my personal configuration that I use. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our crochet hook or our finger and go under the first strand and over the second. Then we're going to use our hook or finger to pull that second strand out and under the first. And while you're pulling with your hook, you're going to remove your fingers from the loop. Then you pull up with your hook and pull down on the yarn tails with your other hand to tighten your slip knot. And then you can make any adjustments necessary to tighten that slip knot up to your hook. All right, and again, you want to make sure, I always do this test, can I move it freely? Because you need that in order to be able to crochet your chains. So let's move on to our third method here, and that is the twist method. So for your twist method here, you're going to take your yarn tail and your working end of your yarn, and you want to have them both in your palm. So then we're going to twist the yarn. Doesn't matter really which way you're going to do it. So again, we're creating that X. this next step, again, you can use your hook or your finger. I'm going to go down through the loop and grab the working end of the yarn. And then I like to hold down the yarn tail with my thumb at this point because it can get a little tricky. And you're just going to pull that all the way through with your crochet hook. And now I'm going to do that one again because I find this one the trickiest one, which is why it's not my personal favorite, but it is definitely one you can use. So again, we've got our yarn tail and yarn working end in our hand. We're going to twist it. Goodness. We're going to twist it to form that loop. Okay. I'm going to make my loop a little smaller there. So we've got our loop. Take your crochet hook or finger, go through the center of the ring, go and grab that working end of the yarn with your hook. And again, you see I'm pinning down the yarn tail with my thumb, and then I'm going to pull that all the way through the loop. And then I can pull on both yarn tails to tighten up that slip knot and pull it up to my crochet hook. And now I'm ready to start crocheting. And when you're ready to start crocheting, what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to that slip knot or just under the slip knot to maintain tension before you start crocheting your chains. All right, and that's how you make a slip knot for crochet. So that's it. That's 3 different methods that you can use to create a slip knot to start your crochet projects. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit that like button and please consider subscribing to this channel. If you like free crochet patterns, please check out my blog, theloopylamb.com, where we've got tons of free crochet patterns, many of which have step-by-step video tutorials just like this one. If you have any questions or comments about the video, I would love to hear from you. Please leave them in the comment section below. And if you need help, I'll try to help you in any way that I can. And I would love to hear what your favorite method is for creating a slip knot of your own. So please let me know that in the comment section as well. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Happy hooking, and I'll see you next time.